This video is brought to you by Bitbox NES game cases. There is no better way to protect, store, and show off your NES game collection. Only available at stoneagegamer.com/bitbox. Skip it up and that up. So ever since I reintroduced the whole, hey, you send me a news article via PM through YouTube and I'll give you a shout out, I have gotten a tsunami of emails. Some with excellent articles, some with articles that have nothing at all to do with tech, and I'm not bringing my channel in that direction. And I also have articles sent to me from people who are trolling, hoping they could trip me up and have me talk about inaccurate news. Today's article isn't inaccurate at all. It does have a tech twist to it, and it's one of the worst things I think I've had to talk about yet on this channel. Actually, maybe the second worst thing. But here we go. So a guy from Florida, 24 years old, named Cody Wyant, was trying to play some Xbox. I don't know what he was playing, Call of Duty. He was playing Halo. Whatever the hell he was playing, doesn't matter. And he has a 16-month-old son, a baby. And what babies do a lot is they cry. The kid was crying incessantly. It was annoying Cody because he was sitting there trying to play his Xbox. So Cody had a solution. Let me go suffocate my fucking son until he's lethargic and not moving, so I could go back and play games. He went and did this, took some bedding and suffocated his son with this until he wasn't moving, and then he went back, played more Xbox, and watched 3 episodes of the television show Fringe. You know, business as usual. You go play some Xbox, your kid starts pissing you off, you suffocate him to death, then go back, play more Xbox and watch some TV. No big deal. So after he suffocated his kid, he left him there unattended for 5 hours. So if there was any chance of this 16-month-old surviving, it was done then. So if there was any chance of reviving him, if you suffocate a child or anybody and leave him there for 5 hours, they're not living. He was doomed. When emergency responders showed up finally at Cody Wyant's home, the kid was unresponsive, and when they took him to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. Again, he left him there for 5 damn hours after he suffocated him. There wasn't a chance in hell this poor kid was going to survive. Cody Wyant was obviously arrested and has been charged with third-degree murder and child neglect. And hopefully he spends the rest of his life in jail, at least. So I'm not Dr. Phil by any means. And Alpha Omega Sin also talked about this subject today. I'll have a link below to his channel in the description. Awesome channel. He has very similar news topics to me, but a much different take on how he speaks about the news topics. So I strongly suggest you go sub Alpha Omega Sin. But anyway, yes, obviously this guy is a sociopath. He's a horrible person, and he should be in jail the rest of his life, at least, because if he could do this to his 16-month-old, God knows what else this guy is capable of. I mean, he casually went back and started gaming again and watching fucking TV. This guy is evil and out of his mind and has no grasp on reality and should not be a member of society ever again. So, yeah. Now that that's said and done with, I have something else I want to talk about that concerns this. The first thing, and the reason why I think a lot of these horror stories, obviously not this extreme, this is fucking disgusting, but the reason why there's so many neglect cases when it comes to kids and babies and children is the fact that people go into this, quote-unquote adults, when they have kids, they don't realize that kids are a full-time job, and they're not ready for it. They're not ready to give up their freedoms. When you have a kid, it is another full-time job on top of your full-time job. What your wants and needs are in life are put aside for that kid. The kid, when a child comes into this world, they're not going to come out with a briefcase and a 3-piece suit ready to go to work. Your job is to bring them up, teach them about the world, make them a contributing member of society. Kids need to be fed. They can't wipe themselves. They need to clean up their shit. They wake up in the middle of the night screaming. They may be 16 months old and screaming during the day. Okay? Kids are a full-time job. And a lot of people, maybe because they just have sex impulsively, which, hey, sex is sex. I'm not knocking sex, okay? But you get what I'm saying. They're like, oh, I'm in love. Let's go fuck in the woods, not use a condom. And we're not ready to have kids yet, financially or emotionally or mentally, but let's do it anyway because we're idiots. And then when the reality hits and you're a 24-year-old man with a 16-month-old kid and you're trying to play a video game and you have this kid that you weren't ready for. He has another kid. I think he has a daughter, by the way, which is now with CPS. You snap and you do things like choke them because you want to go back and play your video games because you weren't ready to be a parent because you're too stupid to actually think about what it entails to raise a human being correctly, I may add, and have them grow up to be a responsible, level-headed member of society. It's not easy. It's not like having a pet. You need to know what you're getting into before you just go, screw it, I'll just become a parent and not think about the ramifications of having unprotected sex and getting someone pregnant. It's a life changer. The rest of your life won't be the same after you have a kid. The second thing is, man, it is the year 2014. There are a billion ways, without me going into detail and making this a public service announcement video, that you can have all the fun you want to have, if you know what I'm saying, and not actually procreate. Because guess what? Guess what sex is about? It's about procreating. It's very enjoyable, but its main purpose is to create another human being. So when you don't do what you're supposed to do and are irresponsible when you partake in having sex, you have a kid and you won't be ready for that kid. And then you become a degenerate parent who won't raise their kid right, and then the kid will become a mess themselves, and then the cycle will continue. Buy a pack of damn condoms, please, and wait until you're actually ready to have a child. Look, there's so much more. There's so much more that I could say on this, man. I can make this into a 30-minute video. But okay, this guy was an extreme, and he obviously had other deep-rooted psychological issues. He's a sociopath. He literally killed this kid and then casually went back and watched television and played games. This guy needs to be locked away for the rest of his life, or maybe another prison inmate will put him out of his misery so we don't have to pay tax dollars to keep him there. I know that sounds cruel, but he's a piece of shit. But this is what happens, man, when people aren't ready to become parents. This is an extreme, but I've seen it in the real world where people are 19, 20, or even my age, and oops, we're pregnant now, we're gonna have a kid, and they treat the kid like hell, and the kid goes through hell because of the fact that his parents, these adults, quote unquote, weren't ready, and they're selfish, and they're just doing their own thing and not raising that kid right. I've seen it time and time again. This is an extreme, but I see it all over the place in the real world, and it bothers the shit out of me. And this poor 16-month-old baby's life was snuffed out because his father was a selfish son of a bitch who didn't want to be interrupted while he was playing video games. Parenting is challenging. It's a full-time job. There are joys to it, but there's also a lot of challenges, and your life is no longer your own when you become a parent. And your first and number one priority is the child that you created, not you. All right, folks, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And if you have an interesting news story you would like me to discuss, private message me with a link via YouTube. And if I use your news article, I will give you a shout out in the video and feature your YouTube channel in the description. Have a good one.